keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You make me win in every way. Win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. 'Cause I'm the winner, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that the music was going to stop. Awesome, guys. Welcome to Straight Talk with Sally. It is our podcast batching day, and I have a couple of amazing guests lined up for you today. We're going to be kicking off with Sarah. Sarah's going to be talking money and all the books that you got to do, and she helps me with my books, so that's pretty cool. And we were just chatting about how well all our books are looking. And then coming up after Sarah, we have the amazing Jackie Ashley. Now, as you know, last podcast batching day, she was sick, but she isn't this week, so she'll be joining us as well. Now, if you don't know me, I am Sally, and this is our podcast batching day, and we do this usually once a month. You need to subscribe to the calendar, ding ding, so you don't miss a podcast batching day. And if you want reminders, then you can also register for Dr. Sparkle. Dr. Sparkle will send you a notification when we are going live for podcast batching day. But let's kick off this episode with our guest. Our guest today has been working with small to medium businesses nearly all of her career. And firstly, as a finance person, in business, and now she has her own team and works with businesses to help them manage their finances and know their business numbers. And you know how much I love me some sexy numbers. As a CPA, she brings a unique mindset to assisting small businesses be in control of their finances and all the aspects of their business around that, and have been and more than that, she's an outsourced bookkeeper. Like, I just snap photos of my receipts and send them off, and she does her magic inside of Xero for me. But please help me in welcoming with some sparkles, Sarah Groth. Yeah. Hey, Sarah. So lovely to have you here. Thank you
so much for having me today.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me today.
It's so nice to have you here. Yes, we did.
I'm so happy to be here.
I loved having you in, and like I've said to Sarah already, I need to ask you a few more questions at the end of the episode because you're always in my books looking at my numbers. But look, before we get stuck into the interview, I'd love our viewers to know a little bit more about you. Why Xero? Why accounting? Why finance? What brought you to do this as your career?
Yeah. Oh, look, to be honest, back in high school when we were doing accounting, there was this really cute boy that I liked, and he went to uni to do accounting, and I thought that sounds like a good idea, so I followed him. But but no, look, I've always just loved numbers. It's just been something that's really clicked with me. So yeah, like you said, I kind of started my career back in the day working as the accountant in industry. So, I've got a background working with not-for-profits, working in the retail sector, working in the recruitment industry, and I was always the accountant for those businesses. But I guess I just always had this dream and idea of starting up my own business. So about 8 years ago, in fact, it's 8 years ago just last week.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, I quit my job and just decided to start up my own business. So it was pretty scary, but I just wanted to be able to work with smaller and medium-sized businesses to sort of help them get a handle on their finances and bridge that gap, I guess, that a lot of businesses have between maybe their admin person doing some accounts and their end-of-year accountant sort of wrapping everything up and finalising things. So I've been doing that for 8 years now, and I absolutely love it. And I've, like you said, built a small team, and I'm about to venture into another business idea in the next 12 months. So, I think once you get an affiliation with it all, you just kind of like to keep growing and doing all the things. So
yeah. So, the entrepreneurial bug hits once you get in and you do well, right? And then it's like, what's the next business?
Yeah.
What's the next investment?
Absolutely, that's right.
I mean, when you started, my accounts and my books were an absolute mess, and you've definitely cleaned them up, and we've grown a lot and changed a lot. You've seen from lots and lots and lots of different programs to now we just sell one thing, and we've dialed it in, and you've been able to have a sneaky peek in the background of how the business has grown and scaled, but also being able to give us tips along the way, which has been super handy, especially for somebody like myself. I really don't even know how to use Xero properly. I just look at the profit and loss every so often just so I can see what we've done in the past. I'm more of the future kind of visionary side.
Yeah.
So in my personal opinion, a bookkeeper should be one of your very first hires, because most of us, we know we have to do tax at the end of the year, but, tracking it is another thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And what I love about working with you is I literally once a month, you just get in and do all the updates, and then you do my GST, and I don't have to worry about any of that stuff that the government needs to know about, because I know you're taking care of business for me, and that just makes my life so much easier, because I want to work with our clients. And I think as somebody who runs a business and looks after other people's businesses, what would you say some of the things that you see with your clients that might delay getting themselves a bookkeeper?
Look, I think there's this big sort of kind of misconception about it. It's so easy to do, and the software does it all for you now, and I can manage it. And And especially in the early stages of a business, you're kind of not looking at taking on any costs that you think you don't need to invest in. But I'd have to say, and I think you realise this really early, Sally, is you kind of have to set your business up for where you want to finish. So have that mindset of only do what you can do, and anything else that's not kind of your day-to-day operations or isn't growing your business, you should outsource.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. And I think setting yourself up, like I said, of where you want to finish, start at that point. So, in 5 years' time, when your business is ticking over, do you really want to be doing your bookkeeping? Do you want to be going in and reconciling your bank account every day? Do you want to be the one that, is coding things through into your system, or doing your GST return, or paying your staff? I think those sorts of things are really great things that you can outsource that generally aren't any business owner's strength point. It's only us who actually, this is our business, that do it all day every day for businesses. So I think just setting yourself up to where you want to be is so important, and I think you realize that really early, and it allows you then to just get on with growing your business, selling the items, that your revenue that you're actually generating, and focusing on that, and not having to focus on the things that perhaps don't come as naturally to you. So that would be my biggest advice, and just setting the business up from day one to, use a proper accounting system, not a spreadsheet. Register for GST, all those things that we kind of decide to put off because we can save some money. But if you do them from day one, you're just setting yourself up for success, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the best.
I totally agree there. And you think you're saving yourself money, but I've watched clients and even some team members that run their own business who delay getting somebody to do, the books and, putting things into Xero, or, they're running in spreadsheets. Come tax time, they lose days, if not weeks, trying to pull everything together. I literally send an email. That's it. I'm ready to do my tax return. I don't have to do anything else. And that small little investment versus the weeks of trying to reconcile and find all the things. I mean, when I travel, or even I just go down to Officeworks to buy stationery, or yesterday I was at a business lunch, literally snap, send, receipt, done. Like, I don't have to worry about it fading in the car.
Exactly. Yeah. It just, those little incremental changes make such a big difference. Like you say, come end of year or even end of quarter, there's so many compliance timeframes these days that we all have to meet. Every month, every quarter, there's something that the ATO wants from us. And if we're tracking it daily, weekly, and you've got someone behind the scenes taking care of all of that for you, then you just frees up your time and energy to focus on the more important things in your business. So.
And you, like me, we love automation, but you automate the back end as well. So the things that would take us a really long time, you already know how to get all that stuff done really fast versus us trying to figure it out and fumble our way through. And I think when it comes to, the government's money, tax, GST, all the things, that's really scary to get that wrong, right? Because
absolutely. And that can lead to big mistakes and costly mistakes. And we see that a lot, especially with people who have asked us to come in and look after things after they've been doing it for a while. They've claimed GST on things they shouldn't have. They've missed GST on things that they could have claimed. They've miscoded things in their accounts that can lead to them paying more tax. So it's really important to get those things right at the start, and make sure that you're not getting some big tax bill or order, even scarier, come years down the track into your business.
Yeah, that's what scares me the most is just getting it wrong, I think. Yeah, especially because I did the thing. I tried to, hire somebody who said that they knew how to do bookkeeping, and they made a mess. They made a mess, right? And it took you a while to get in and clean everything up. I know they were deleting things and just doing all kinds of random things. I had no idea when I hired you actually what the hell was going on with my bookkeeping. You were a godsend. I went through a couple of people before I found you, and you made a huge difference to seriously just lightening the load. It's been amazing. Now, in regards, because you do, we do monthly, I look at monthly information, and I probably should pay more attention to my profit and loss. So I am a profit first girl. So I look at my bank account, right? And I use my bank account to help me make decisions. But what do you think is really important about making sure that we're doing monthly reviews?
Yeah, look, I think monthly reviews are really important. I think like we spent some time last month, I think, Sally, just trying to get your profit and loss looking the way you wanted it to, because at the end of the day, that's what's telling the story of your business. So making sure you're tracking or setting up your monthly reports to track things that you want to measure. I think that's really important. And it also just gives you a great insight, even though it's looking backwards and we all want to be looking forward in our businesses. We have to look backwards and just see what has happened, where we can change things or tweak things. We could be focusing on a product that you're selling that just isn't actually performing that well. And if you know that by looking at your reports, then you can make those adjustments. Or you might see that your subscription bills are going up and up and up, and then give you the opportunity to sort of see that trend and go, hang on, what am I subscribing to here, and is it actually adding any value to my business? And I think a common mistake that some of us make is we focus so much on the top line, the revenue, how much money are we making? But that's not what we're making. It's the bottom line. And unless you're looking in your profit and loss and your balance sheet reports, you're not actually going to see how much money you're actually making, because all of that revenue can go out the door pretty quickly if we're not keeping an eye on it.
Yeah. Oh, look, I can't remember how many products we used to sell before we did that big cull, right? And now we've kind of archived them into
long.
It was getting so long. It was almost as long as the expenditure stuff at the bottom. It was huge, of all the different products that we'd tested over the years. But now we've got one really strong line, and you hear the 80-20 rule all the time, right? 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of the things that you do. Yeah, so like I've still got a lot of legacy programs, but we can see there's just this one standout, right? And we've still got,
and that's where you focus your energy now.
Yeah, exactly. And that has allowed us to see what was working best. And I love how you talked about subscriptions, because I'm a bit of a software junkie, and I am. Oh my God. And I just buy things to test them and try them, and I forget to unsubscribe. And, when I do go in and look at my profit and loss, I'm always clicking on that little subscription button, the software button, to see, oh my goodness, which are the things that I keep forgetting to unsubscribe from. Now, you mentioned profit and loss and balance sheet. What's the difference between your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet?
Yeah. Well, I think most people probably know the profit and loss, and that's basically a reflection of all the sales that you've made in your business and all the costs related to making those sales. But if you're really looking at your business, the balance sheet is I guess it's almost the health check of your business. It's actually making sure that everything is being recorded properly, and it shows how healthy your business is. So at the end of the day, you've got in your balance sheet, and I don't want to get too techie, but you've got assets, so things that you own, or things that like accounts receivable where businesses owe you money. So that's the good stuff. And then your liabilities, which might be things like, paying the ATO, or you might have a loan that you use to set up the business. And what you want at the end of the day is those assets obviously to be worth more than those liabilities. So you own more than you owe. It's a bit like our home loan. You want your house to be worth more than your home loan. Yeah. And you want your business to be worth more than the liabilities that are in it. And what that equals is what we all, strive for, is equity. And you want that equity to be really, really strong in your business. So the balance sheet actually really is probably the most disregarded document from business owners, accountants and bookkeepers and people in the finance industry and your bank will look at them all the time, but business owners don't tend to focus on that, and that's where a lot of the errors get found in a business. So so one's kind of a statement that tells you the health of your business, and the other one is sort of telling you the journey of your business with your revenue and expenses leading into your profits. So,
I have to say, I've never really looked at the balance side. I know, when I apply for grants and different things, they always ask you to supply the balance sheet, but I've never really paid that much attention to it. I do go into the profit and loss to see how we're going, if we had a positive cash flow month or a negative one, and sometimes that happens in between launches as well. But really, really interesting there. I would say, like, as an entrepreneur, we struggle to pay ourselves right? We do. We tend to
Absolutely.
keep reinvesting money back into our businesses. We put our clients and our staff before ourselves. What do you say around those, those people who aren't paying themselves? And what would you say, what should business owners be starting to sort of think about when it comes to actually paying themselves
Yeah.
versus continuously reinvesting?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think it's a really tricky one. That's a really hard question for a lot of businesses, and I think it depends on a few things. I think obviously your personal circumstances can come into it, and what you actually need to draw from your business, and why you're doing it in a way as well. I mean, is it replacing a job? And if so, then you really need to be drawing an income from it. But you mentioned earlier, Sally, about profit first. And I think if anybody hasn't sort of read that book or invested in it, and in fact, Sally, you're the one that got me onto it, interestingly enough. So, that really does talk about paying yourself first and making sure that there's some sort of structure in your business that allows you to do that. And you can get sucked into that sort of mindset of, like you say, really reinvesting into your business. But if you're not paying yourself and you can't meet your bills personally, then you're not going to have a business to invest into anymore. So, the number is going to be variable. It's going to depend on what your business is generating and what your personal needs are. And like I said, you might have a business and a job going at the same time. So you might be paying yourself out of your business. And I think the structure of your business also will lead you down that path of paying yourself. If you've set yourself up as a sole trader, which most businesses do when they start out, then you can't put yourselves on the books and pay yourself through payroll, which gets you into that sort of tricky downward slide of not paying yourself. But if you are a company, you employ yourself like you would any other employee, and you make sure that you pay yourself on a fortnightly basis and that you're contributing to your super as well, because I think that's one area that sole traders forget to do. They take money out of the business when they want to, and that's fine. That's what a sole trader is set up to do. They take drawings, but they're not contributing into their super, and that can be a little bit scary 20 years down the track when you don't have anything in your super balance. So
That is a very good point, and I need to take your advice because I honestly don't do that at all. I know we do with our husband. I invest in other areas for long-term, like property and businesses, but I think that's a really good point. And for our viewers that aren't in Australia, superannuation is our retirement fund that the government really, if you've got an employee, if you're an employee, the employer has to pay super. So you've got money when you retire, but when you're a business owner, you don't have to pay yourself super. And I can see where a lot of business owners, if they're not like investing in other areas, super's so important though too, because there are a lot of tax benefits from putting money into super, right?
That's right.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
what are some of the benefits of actually, putting money into super?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, if you're a business and someone's paying that on your behalf as an employee, then that's great. That's sort of coming. That's a business expense, but it's obviously adding to your super. But if you're a sole trader, or even if you're an employee and you decide to put extra money into your super, it's tax deductible. So the sole trader situation, there's a tax deduction obviously for making that. And up to a certain level, our taxation office in Australia also matches that amount. So it's
Wow.
really important. You can get some extra benefit out of that too.
Yeah.
But to salary sacrifice some of that money as an employee, then you're paying no tax on it out of your pay, and you only get taxed at 15% inside the super fund.
Yep.
So it does, like you say, have some great tax benefits as well to take advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's one of those things that we just kind of put off, but we don't think about it until we get a little bit closer to that retirement age, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's super important. What are some of the common mistakes that you might see, the solo entrepreneur doing when it comes to, the finance side of their business?
Yeah, I think it's probably just not setting themselves up right in the first instance. So doing things in spreadsheets, not registering for GST. And a lot of businesses don't do that because they think, well, I'm only small and I don't have to charge it yet. But it means any of the expenses you're incurring, you're getting charged GST on those and you can't claim it back. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important to sort of register for GST early.
Mm-hmm.
And also as you grow, if you've kind of built this a customer base and you haven't been charging them GST or sales tax, I think it might be called in other countries, then when you get big enough and you have to register, all of a sudden you're charging your clients an extra 10%, and they don't really understand why. And if they're not a business, if they're a consumer, like a mum and dad consumer of your service, they can't claim that back.
Yeah.
So I think setting that up from the start. And I think a lot of small businesses mix their personal and their business expenses, and it's really important to separate them out. One, so you can really see what your business is doing, but two, it just clears the waters. And if you've got a bookkeeper, for instance, looking after your accounts, they're not spending time reconciling your personal stuff. They're only just focusing on your business accounts. So I think there are a couple of really, really important things to do. And I think it's, like I said
Yeah.
at the start, kind of setting yourself up for where you want to be, and focusing on that and setting the systems up to support your business to grow from day one. So
Yeah.
yeah, get on to Xero. That's our favorite accounting package, and out of the spreadsheets. And as you mentioned, that monthly review is going to be so much easier to do if you're using a software package rather than looking at spreadsheets. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I do love and the comparisons that I can make with a click of a button
yeah,
inside of
yeah,
Xero to see, October 2022 versus October 2021. What was the incoming and
yeah,
outgoing
yeah,
expenses? Were we profitable this time last year? Especially because we've gotten into a flow now of, launching around the same time every year. We can do those comparisons. Have we gotten better? Has our revenue increased? And we can also see the ebb and flows, right? Because some months we don't
yeah,
make
that's true.
profit. Like we might have a lot of revenue come in, but we've got a lot of expenses. So it's being able to see over, seriously, one click of a button. I can see, oh my goodness, I lost all this money last month, but over the last 12 months, we're ahead. And I love that about Xero and how simple it is to read that. And you've made it simple for me as well. Like I
Yeah.
didn't go in there and figure all that stuff out. You've got them all separated into little columns. It looks like a little spreadsheet. But
Yeah, it does, absolutely.
yeah, but it's organised. Like literally, I just go to the accountant at the end of the year, do my tax, and and they're good at it. And then the two of you might liaise for a couple of things, and then you do my GST. I don't have to worry about that. Where previously, when I had bookkeepers, they weren't registered to lodge or to do all the things for me, and then I had to go and do all the things. I like the fact that you just tell me if I've got to pay or if I'm getting money back. Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
So, look, what I also love to do during this interview, and my team, we kind of like to go off topic a little bit and chat about we call them the sparkle questions. So, what would be one common myth that you would say about your profession that you would like to debunk, that people assume about people that do what it is that you do?
Yeah. Look, I think, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think people just think it's easy. And I think I mentioned it before that, that the software packages have come so far and they do make things easy. Like, they've got bank feeds and you can just click a button and it reconciles everything. But knowing that things are going into the right spots and being claimed correctly and you're meeting all your compliance obligations, I think is the difference between people thinking it's just easy, I don't need to outsource it, I can do it myself, but knowing that it's actually being done correctly. I think that's the biggest myth, that we're expensive and an unnecessary expense. But I think we're a small investment into really some long-term gains. So
small. It really isn't that much, really, compared to the headache and that I used to get at the end of the year, or just even on a monthly basis, just knowing that, it just gets done, right? It
Yeah.
really isn't. I mean, you can always make
Yeah.
more money. You can't make more time. And,
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
you
Yeah.
saved me so much time. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're welcome. I think that you focus on what you do best, and we focus on what we do best. And
Well, that's it.
your
Yeah.
time is better invested in other areas. So I think that that's the other misconception, that it is easy, and I can do it myself. It won't take that much time. But as we talked about earlier, it can cost you a lot of money if things aren't being done correctly. And we've seen clients who have taken over who claim GST and all sorts of things, like I said, that they shouldn't have. So the software makes it easy to reconcile something, but if it's not being reconciled correctly, then you end up in a bit of a pickle. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a big misconception, that it's easy, anybody can do it, and it doesn't need to be overseen by a professional. So
Well, that's like when people come to us for marketing. They think posting on social media, that's called marketing.
yeah, isn't it?
Right? It's like, well, this is what we do all day, every day. Like, I am not,
Yeah,
I am not a bookkeeper. I am not somebody who, I love profit first, don't get me wrong, and I love sexy numbers, but that's not the part of the business that I thrive in. And
No.
I love looking at the outcome at the end. Same as when people come to us, they're yoga instructors, dog trainers, all these other things. They're not marketers. They're not bookkeepers. And these are things that run a business. You can't just put your head in the
Yeah.
sand and
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
hope and pray that everything's going to work okay.
Won't
And
work out.
I love how you said, set yourself up for where you want to be.
Yeah,
It's it's that be, do, have, right? You treat your business the way you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
Now, it will save you so much headache in the future versus, thinking that you've got to have all of this stuff before you can, invest in the software and do all of that.
Yeah.
Why not just set it up right from the start?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and you have less growing pains when you do it that way as well, and you don't have to do everything to start with, because yes, you can't. If you did everything, it would cost you a bomb. But those small incremental things that can grow with your business and not cost you any more as you grow are
yeah,
just they just set a good foundation for your business, and that you're on the right track. And
yeah.
like you said, going back and seeing where your business is today versus 2 years ago, being able to do that at a touch of a button, because you've got the software there to do it, and you've tracked everything consistently. It's really heartening to see, isn't it?
It
To look back and go,
is.
this is where I was 12 months ago.
Well, I mean, we
So
had a pretty okay month last month, and I
we
was
did.
really interested to see like how far back I could go inside of Zero, because we turned 5 years last month, and I wanted to see how far we'd come, that and watch all the different months of when we were making money and when we were losing money. And yeah, it was a good month last month, which
Yeah.
made me want to dig deeper into Zero last
Okay.
night, actually.
Yeah, that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's at the touch of a button, like you say. So,
Yeah, and how you said, I talk about this and preach it all the time. When you set yourself up in the right software from the start, it, like you said, with the growing pains, it really helps with the growing pains. Like, we were always saying, pay a little bit more for good software, and it's not really expensive for
No,
good
yeah,
software. Like in the marketing side of your business, I know it's like $10 a day for everything to get you to scale to 6+ figures, right? And it's really not that expensive, and then you never have to move software again.
yeah, that's right.
Versus
Yeah, you're not trying to fix
spreadsheets.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
working in spreadsheets or trying to go MailChimp or just sending from your own inboxes. Like those things, once you've built that foundation, you then become scalable with less growing pains. I think that's so important that people don't think about, every time you migrate from spreadsheet to new software, you've got to learn it all over again. You've got to set it up all over again. And that is such a headache as you start to grow and scale.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't then have that historical information in one spot to be able to look back and reflect and see those trends and change them if they need to be changed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Look, I've got
yeah,
Excel spreadsheets back from like, in the 90s where I used to budget in Excel spreadsheets, but you can't just easily pull that information together like you can inside of Xero. All right, another question for you. What are 3 people that have helped to support or inspire you along your journey as an entrepreneur yourself?
Right. Well, look, it's so important to have people around you, isn't it? That it can be your cheerleaders and be in your corner. And probably this is going to be really boring, but I'd have to say it's my husband. So, he was actually we'd only been together for a few years when I started up my own business. So, we just bought a house, and I was in a job I wasn't enjoying, and I just said, look, I think I'm going to quit and start my own business. And rather than him worrying about the mortgage, he just had complete faith in what he thought I could do. And, it's turned out to be, from a financial perspective, the best decision we've made. And, he supported me through starting it up and inspired me and I guess just really believed in me that I could do it, and has been there the whole time. And I guess the second person would be actually an old boss of mine. So I worked with her for about 10 years, and she's run her own businesses pretty much all her life. And she really encouraged me to quit that job that I wasn't enjoying. It wasn't her job, her business. And just helped me, sort of nut out how to get started and what to do and how to approach the networking side of things. I mean, I'm a nerdy accountant and, like to sit behind my computer. I don't like to get out there and network and do those sorts of things, but you have to do that. So, so I did that, and she was really great and encouraging me. And, another female entrepreneur who I've been able to watch grow her business when I was the accountant for it. And then I'm managing a couple of her businesses now. So that's been really, really rewarding as well. And I think the third thing is probably not a person, but just really looking at other businesses around you. I joined a business networking group when I first started my business, and it was so obviously I got referrals from that, and that was great. But just actually be in a room with other business owners and hearing about their struggles, or even hearing about their successes, and then sort of being able to vibe off of that and say, oh, so so and so tried that and that worked really well, I'm going to give that a go, and just supporting each other and being each other's cheerleaders as well. So I think family, friends, and other business owners are just so important in setting you up for success and being in your corner. It can be a lonely business being a business owner, a lonely process being a business owner. You don't get anyone to sort of pat you on the back like you would when you've got a boss. So you have to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, and I think having that network, the Sparkle World itself is my network. I'm very lucky that I get to spend a lot of time with our clients. But if you don't have, and this is to everybody out there, if you don't have somebody you can speak to, go and find a network to join. Because, my husband, like yours, was very supportive, but he is not an entrepreneur. So he does not want to talk business at all. I went for a coffee date, or a working coffee date, with a friend, another entrepreneurial business owner, yesterday, and we're like talking business all day, and we were both saying, our partners love us and support us, but their eyes start to glaze over when we talk about business. So and it can be very, very, very lonely. All right, this last question sometimes stumps people, but I'm going to ask it. Okay. If you could be in my shoes interviewing yourself, what is a question that I didn't ask that you would have asked yourself?
Oh, now you have stumped me. Look, maybe what has it taken you to be successful, I think, would be maybe a question that we haven't covered. And I think for me, so I have to answer that now, I'm assuming.
Yes, that's exactly what was going to happen next. So go for it.
Look, I feel like sometimes it's happened by accident, but it hasn't, and I think I think what I've done is probably followed all of the advice that I've just given. And, whilst I was kind of scared to go out there and start up my own business, from day one, I set myself up like I was bigger than I was meant to be. So I think, setting yourself up for success has been my success, I think. Like you said, Sally, I invested in software that a friend of mine was working at an accounting firm with I think 80 staff, and they just started to implement a software that I've been using since it was just me. So, I think those sorts of things are so important, and I always just believed that it was going to be successful, and, and acted like it was. So, you kind of got to fake it till you make it. And when you make it, the faking all kind of plays out. So, and also education. I think the biggest thing that I've done is really invest in obviously there's a lot of compliance in our work, and we have to learn all of that and do continuing professional development and all of those sorts of things, but learning and doing things outside of that. So reading books and, like the amount of business books I've read, and some of them have been good and some of them have been terrible, but oh, sorry, one of my lights have just gone out. One of them was the E-Myth. I'm sure everybody's heard of that, the old McDonald's model. But, things like that. And then, that's about setting up your business to be bigger than it is at the current point in time, and making sure that you tick all of those, or take all of those hats off as you can grow your business. And profit first was another one, and there's been a few others along the way. So I think to be successful, you've just got to really act like you're already there, and grow and build your business like it needs to be where it's going to where it's going to end up. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
I totally agree. It's the belief in yourself, because you've got to believe in yourself no matter what's going on, and whether you go through ups and downs. I went through burnout. Lots of things have come and gone through, like the 5 years I've been running this business. Lots of staff have come and gone, friends have come and gone, but it's that staying power and the belief that you're just going to do it no matter what, and prove the naysayers wrong, right? Those that don't believe in you back when the business wasn't doing well, or we were just starting up. And I had big visions to make $1 million, and we happily have, but I always believed that the business was going to get there. And I love how you said that it's continuing to believe and act and do the things that a 7-figure business owner would do, right? Like, set yourself up the way you want to be. I think that's so important. All right. Ma hasn't actually started highlighting it in my sheet, but I always now, in my little notepad here, she always has one question, which was her one. She's like, can we do this in all of your podcasts, Sally? So at the end, we always get you to fill a sentence in. So you've got to say, hi, my name is Sarah and I sparkle because, and then complete the sentence.
Oh, goodness. So Mars put me on the spot once again. So, oh, look, I think my name is Sarah, and I sparkle because I enjoy seeing other people's success and being rewarded by seeing the businesses that I work with being successful.
Wow. Yes. You get to sneaky peek in the back of all kinds of businesses, right? To see what's working and what's not.
It's nothing better than like doing your figures yesterday, Sally, and going, oh my God, that's amazing. And, just being really proud and happy of the businesses that I'm working with and how they've grown. So I love that. That gives me some sparkles.
I know, right? I was like, I've been waiting for you to reconcile last month because I knew it was a good month, but I wanted to see the numbers. And we were so happy with the results from last month. And it's just been because we've been consistently sticking with the one thing, and over the years we've tried lots of things, but we've found the secret sauce now, I truly believe. And plus we get to work with amazing high caliber clients now. I think that makes a huge difference as well, that they're not just startups. They've got the belief in themselves even before they're successful, I think, as well, which kind of goes to show the results that we're able to do. And I can just imagine some of the numbers because I love numbers and all the sneaky things you get to see in the background of other people's businesses that a lot of people won't share publicly. We trust you. That's the thing with
true.
Because when you think about, sometimes you don't do well and you don't want to share it with the world straight away until you've learnt from it. And yeah, we've been through lots of ups and downs and that, and having someone you can trust because I mean, I've had people in my business in the past that did have that kind of access to my things and were sharing private information that they shouldn't have been sharing. And I think knowing that, you know, I can trust you with those sorts of things, you know, it's really nice to be able to have those conversations and know that you know all the ins and outs of all the things that are going on.
No, it's a good point, Sally, and we don't take that for granted. We certainly don't talk about anybody's other businesses or anyone's businesses with other businesses. And you know, I think that trust is really built up with a lot of our clients, in so much so that I've got a couple of our clients that actually have me manage their personal finances in Xero as well. So, you know, I've got their home loans in there. I can see how much they buy on alcohol and coffee, entertainment, what subscriptions they've got, you know, how many streaming services they're using, you know, all those sorts of things. But similar to a business, and my husband always jokes that I run my family like a business because I've got our own personal Xero file as well. You know, you start to see where you spend your money, and you start to see where you could stop spending money, especially if you've got a savings goal or, you know, something that you want to save up for. So I think, you know, that has played out, that trust has flowed into people's personal lives in a way as well. So, and, you know, we're very humbled by that. So
I never really thought about using Xero for personal. We use Good Budget.
There's lots of other apps and things that can do it, but I just love Xero, and I'm in it all day, every day. It's easy to just jump into my own file and reconcile the credit card, and then ring hubby and say, "Why have you spent so much money at Bunnings this month?" You know, so.
No, my husband would look at it and go, "Why have you spent so much money on eyelashes or something like that?"
That's why I reconcile it, not him.
Right. I know. On that point, like that was what one of our staff members did, or previously. They saw me buying things that, you know, and they didn't keep it private, which was, it was a big learning curve for me. That somebody had gone and shared, you know, me spent buying eyelashes with people. If it's my money, but you've got to have that trust with your staff. It did. At that time, I know when that happened, it was like, I'm never, ever letting anyone that close to me again. And then somebody said to me, you have to. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to grow and scale and go where you need to go, and you need to allow yourself to trust again. And it was a huge learning curve to have that kind of trust in somebody, and then they go out there and, you know, screenshot your bank accounts and stuff like that, and that's not good.
No. Well, we do not do that here.
I know you don't. You're amazing. Like, I love what you do, and like I said, you have made my life and my business so much easier. I know when we, you know, our first couple of years of running this business, and, you know, we're spending money and investing, and I'm pulling money from my daughter's bank account to get the business off the ground and selling things from the garage. And then the tax return comes back and my husband's like, "You lost this much money?" And I'm like, no, come into Xero. And then he can, because the tax return is so different than, you know, once the tax man does all his, you know, or my accountant does all his things, because we're claiming back all the outgoing, you know, all the money that we've invested in the business. So it looks like we've lost a lot of money, but then I can go and show him in Xero that we didn't actually lose all that. That was stuff we're claiming from the last few years of running the business. So, because he got really worried when he saw the first couple of tax returns. But I'm like, that was me borrowing money from the family, honey. It's all back there now. It's self-sustaining, which I love.
Yes,
Sarah,
definitely.
I love catching up with you. We need to do it more often, even just a coffee and a chat, and we can talk sexy numbers all day. I
Yeah.
love it.
No, it's been great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, hey, I propped Mandy's cherry yesterday, guys. If you weren't over on Instagram watching my live, my last, or one of our previous podcast guests, Mandy, who we were talking all about hiring agencies, she'd never done an Instagram live with me, and I popped her cherry yesterday for Instagram live. And Sarah, you've never done a podcast before.
No, never. No, don't think we've even been on anything live before. So, so definitely lots of cherries popped today.
Wow,
So,
there you
yeah,
go. Well, we're
been,
going to have to get you on more lives, honey,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you've been a delight to have on the show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, and you've made it very easy and lots of fun, Sally, as you do with everything that you
Oh,
touch. So,
thank
so
you.
it's been wonderful.
Business has got to be fun. And I don't know if anyone
Yeah.
can tell outside, but it's pouring rain.
Oh.
And so I can hear all of this background hissing noises going on. So, and I keep hitting the mute button. Right, so you can't hear the rain. So my poor podcast manager will be editing it, and she'll be like, "What's all this noise?" It's the rain, guys. It's the rain. It's pouring down here in Geelong. So it looks nice and sunny where you are. So
Yeah, I think it's a little bit deceiving actually. So
Is
it was been pouring all night here as well. So
Yeah.
we're in Adelaide.
yes, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love Adelaide. I love wine. The wineries.
The right place to come.
It certainly is. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. And everybody out there on the live stream, thanks so much for tuning in and joining us. Let us know wherever you're watching this episode or listening to the episode, what is your key takeaway from today? Please send us a note, drop us a line, or even snapshot where you're listening to this and tag us over on social with your key takeaway. Now, for those of you who are joining us for Podcast Batching Day, we have the amazing Jackie Ashley, who is joining us at the top of the following hour, so about an hour and 15 minutes from now. Jackie, we're going to be talking about the science behind manifestation, and Jackie and I are always talking philosophy and manifesting and all the things. You know, we're both a little woo-hoo, you know, a little bit of that, but I love the fact that it's all science driven and research based around, you know, what it is that Jackie does. And she also helps a lot of our clients as well with their mindset work. So I can't wait to have Jackie on the next thing. But thank you again so much, Sarah, for joining us. Let's wave on out. We are going to head on out, and I'll see you on the next episode. I was going to say lesson. I'll see you on the next episode, guys. That'll be starting in about an hour from now.
I will not bow down. Keep putting me off, I'm not gonna change my mind. You're headstrong forward,